Hello, my friends, and welcome to Speaking on Anime. So, tonight, as I said in my announcement earlier today, we are going to be covering the anime called Claymore. Now, you'll have to forgive me. I am on the truck tonight, which is probably where I'm going to be starting to do much of my live streams going forward, just because this is this is where I spend most of my time. Hell, Lady Mist, thank you for popping in. Yeah, Claymore was one that I'd seen popping up in the various services that I use to watch anime, and I wasn't really sure whether it was going to be something that I would like. In fact, I actually started trying to watch it once, and after about halfway through the first episode, I kind of wasn't really feeling it. I wasn't that interested in it, and oh, pardon me, turn my camera on there so you can see my ugly mug. Um, so yeah, I was having a hard time, and so I was just like, okay, you need to go back, because that's happened to me several times on different animes where I watched it initially or started to watch an anime initially, and then realized that it really wasn't for me, and it probably was more just the mood that I was in, had nothing to do with the anime, really, for the most part. But then I went back and started watching it a week or so ago, and then I've been rewatching it this week, and it is just really good, really good. In fact, I would say if I, as I put in the description for this live stream, if there was an anime that I would say that all Hollywood writers, screenwriters, producers, directors, and everything should have to sit down and watch if you're going to write, direct, or have any involvement in creating a badass female character, they should be required to sit down and watch this series. Because this series is a masterclass in how to write strong, funny, fun, just but like kind of stern and strict female characters that are like hardcore. Also, there isn't a lot of humor in this anime, so I guess that's not really as big of a thing. But yeah, it's just so it's one of those things where it, if sometimes if you find that you don't like an anime right off the bat, go back and give it a chance later on, because more often than not, you'll find that like you're in a different place, you feel differently about things, every day is a little different, and suddenly you'll find that, hey, this is actually really good. So I mean, and that's happened to me multiple times with anime. Now this is a shoujin anime, which is what the kind of the category it fits in. And yes, Lady Mist, it is good to give things a real chance to get started, because sometimes things are a slow burn. I know that with Loki, he said when he was getting into the Expanse, he really struggled to get into it because those first few episodes, they're a little bit of a slow burn. For me, I came at the Expanse completely different, so it was very different for me. I was kind of in it from the very get-go, but I was introduced to it midway through a season by my brother, and so I was kind of like, what's going on now? I have to know what all this is happening. So that kind of helped me with the Expanse and just made me a mega fan of the show until they killed it. But so this, like most animes, this was originally a manga. They made the first 11 books into 24 episodes of this show, and then from what I understand, it has been canceled. This was made in 2007, or that's when it originally aired in Japan, was in 2007. And which really makes me sad, because if you watch this anime, you'll know what I mean. By the time you get to the end, you're just like, and if you find out it's canceled, you're like, no, wait, what? You're just kind of really getting into the crazy good stuff. but this is a story that follows a character named Claire. Claire is Claire is what is called a Claymore. Claymore is not what they call themselves. It's kind of a title they've been given. But tell the truth, is the Expanse really over? Let me see if I can highlight. There we go. I'm doing this on my phone, so I'm not sure what I can and can't do. I'm still learning the phone thing. Computer is totally different. But yeah, no. On the question of the Expanse, I think they will come back to it. The question is, will we want them to? After what they did with the last 2 seasons, my answer to that question would be no. And not just no, but no. I hope they just leave it alone now, because they killed my interest in that show, which I was surprised. I thought it was, because I was just a diehard mega fan of the show. It is the best science fiction show I'd seen in a very long time. But yeah, but I mean, that's the thing. When identity politics and outside influences get inside your entertainment, that's when you're always going to have problems. And that's what happened. Outside politics, outside Me Too move, blah, 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 got involved in the show. We lost Cass Anvar. The show suffered for it. They wrote him out, which left a huge gaping hole in the series. And it just really caused problems. So, yeah, I don't know. They really need to learn how to separate reality and entertainment. Now, I'm not saying if somebody like raped somebody and there was an actual crime committed, then yes, no, that person should go to jail and should not get to finish the show and stuff like that. But that wasn't the case here. Anyway, sorry. Yeah. Holy mist, you little devil, just asking me a question about the Expanse will send me off on a tangent. You're like that kid that when I was a kid and we'd get a substitute teacher in a class, the whole focus of the day became getting that teacher off subject, because you knew if you could get him off subject, you wouldn't get homework. Anyway, no, but yeah, no, I'm easily just a squirrel, so Trinity Blood. Oh, see, and I have not watched Trinity Blood. If I'll have to go find that one. I'm still struggling to try and get into that one you suggested to me the last time. Lynn Long. I've got the message, but yeah, no, it looks really awesome, but I subtitles. I struggle. I struggle. I've been drinking apparently. I struggle with subtitles. I really do. I have to talk myself into it and really sit down and just focus and be like, okay, I'm going to do this thing. So that's my biggest problem. So I will get through that. I promise, Lady Miss, because Linkage, there you go. Because I mean, it looks really cool. The anime itself, the anime work and the artwork and stuff just looks really good. So I mean, that caught me right away. Just the first, I don't know, the intro and maybe the first 30 seconds of the show, and I was just like, wow, this looks good. Anyway, so let me turn that comment off. So yeah, no, it's but with this anime, with Claymore, so this is in a human world. I don't know if it takes place really on our world or if it's a different human world. They don't really talk about that. That is one of, so there are some small issues with this anime for the fact that there are some things, major kind of things that are brought up that are not explained, or not explained very well. Now, I don't know if that was planned to be done later on, and then now they're just never going to. But yeah, so I mean that was kind of a problem there with the fact that they kind of did that. Anyway, so this is the Claymores are a mixed race, a hybrid race that was created to fight shape-shifting demons called Yoma. which are basically the way it's described and the way I kind of look at it in my mind, is that they're kind of like the Goa'uld from Stargate. They get inside a human brain, and basically take over the human brain and the body, and then morph them into a shape-shifting demon, basically. So they take over a human being, but they don't really talk about how that happens or what the process is. It's just kind of given out there as a fact, and then boom, they just carry on with the story. So you don't know how people get infected. You don't know what causes them to become a Yoma. And it's just, but these are like big, like monstrous looking things, and they eat human entrails. So that seems to be their like whole, where we might like a steak. No, they like human guts. So, ew. But no, it's and this I will tell you, this anime is quite graphic, quite gory. So if you like that, I mean, if you can watch Demon Slayer, if you can watch Attack on Titan, yeah, this is, you're looking at similar gore levels, not quite to the gore level that Attack on Titan will go sometimes, but it is kind of gory. I don't know. Is the sound? I'm going to ask you guys. Is the sound okay? Can you guys hear me okay? Is the mic all right? Because I'm still testing this. If I need to get a separate mic to start doing this, I will. Because the sound on the last week's episode was a little iffy. So, but my hope is that I will start doing these every Thursday night now. Because Thursday seems to be a good day during the week for me to do this. So I'm hoping to bring this back as a regular weekly feature. Okay, cool. Thanks, Lady Mist. So I don't know. It depends on how much interest I get and stuff like that. I've had to shift things around so many times. The problem is there's a lot of people that seem to stream on Thursday nights. So we'll see. We may have to switch it to another night so I'm not tripping over other people's trying to stream and stuff. So these Yoma, they can just appear anywhere. They kind of come into town. They kind of come in, take over a town or people in a town, and then they secretly just run around eating people. The Claymores were created to deal with them. Now they're half human, half Yoma, and they use that power because basically Yoma are so powerful, fast, powerful, agile. They're really strong. Picture a vampire on like a big ugly vampire on steroids, speed steroids, and it just is like times two. So that's kind of what you can compare them to. My words aren't coming out right tonight, but yeah. So they're kind of a cool thing. And the first few episodes, you're getting to know Claire. You get introduced to most of the main characters, and they're, as Lady Miss said, the characters are really well written. Like I said, this is a master class in how you write a strong female character that isn't a cunt. Pardon me. It just slipped out. But yeah, sorry. I mean, I'm sorry, when we're getting the Brie Larsons and the the other type ladies in film and stuff like that, like they write them to be such a bunch of and they're intolerable. This, they're not. They are strong, and there's a good reason why they're female. Like, it makes sense. It's part of the storyline. You find out why it's more of a sorry, Lady Mist. It just, sometimes my brain gets running and then the filter shuts off and stuff just comes out. But yeah, no, it is. So it's just really, really cool to see a female character written right like this. It kind of reminds me of, I don't know if any of you guys ever saw the film Atomic Blonde with Charlize Theron. That's another one that is just like, why can't they write female action characters like this all the time? Because if they could, they'd make billions, because they're just really great action heroes. And the fact that they're a woman and stuff, it's like, that's never brought up. You just accept them for what they are. There's no identity politics in there. It's just it's just like, it's just the way it is. Let's see, I don't watch any of those actors or shows. I must have said something, and I don't know. Yeah, you're gonna have to explain that to me, Lady Mist. Which actors or shows? Um, oh, you mean like the crazy, awful female character show? Yeah, nobody does. Everybody doesn't want that. Hey, Brightest Day, thanks for popping in. Welcome. But Claymore is just, it was such a surprise to me and such a kind of joy to watch and stuff. The one thing I do really enjoy about this is the fact that the Claymores are really catty to each other. There's kind of an active rivalry between all of the different female characters. They're kind of going back and forth and ripping on each other, and they're all kind of vying to be the number one character, the number one Claymore, or however you want to say that. So I enjoyed that aspect of it, because it's just, it kind of makes it fun, where they're always just kind of like just ripping on each other and stuff like that. And it's just kind of a fun, it makes some of it more fun, to see these women being so catty to each other. Because I mean, I'm sorry, you can't be in a larger or big group of women for too awful long without there being some of that. Now, not always. There are some great women out there that don't ever feel the need to be catty, and that's awesome too. But it is kind of funny from an outsider's perspective, because me being a dude and everything. Because guys are that way, but I mean, we just rip on each other because that's how we show our love. Yeah. That's okay. I knew you were here, Lady Mist. It's all right. Hello. But no, so this, I mean, this follows a progression, and each episode you want to go to the next one. You will be looking forward to the next episode, and that's when I know an anime really is worth it, because you just can't wait to get to the next episode. You get to find out how Claire, the main character, kind of becomes who she is. Her mentor was a Claymore called Teresa, which Teresa is just phenomenal as a character. I mean, just kind of OP, but like you don't feel like she's OP, if that makes sense. It's like she's so overpowered, but like she can still be defeated and stuff like that. But oh my gosh, she is fantastic, and she ends up being Claire's mentor. Which that whole thing, the thing about this is there's a lot of like dark kind of sadness and stuff in this world, and like there's kind of some open cruelty that like people are just they're kind of hard. It kind of reminds me of stories of like the early pioneers and stuff like that, because even to survive, you had to be very hard. I mean, you had to be hard as flint as a human being to even survive into your 30s and 40s and stuff like that. And that's what this world kind of reminds me of. It's just a very tough place. And so when Claire meets Teresa, man, it's kind of brutal how that relationship progresses, and then there's just kind of this awakening moment where you're just like, oh, I mean, it's just really, really great. And so, it happens in a way that you're not expecting. And so, the other Claymores, as they get introduced, you don't see all of them, but, and I'm not going to try and go into each individual one. Just trust me, as each one of them comes in, you will find things that you love about them and things that are just kind of like, the thing I like about this is there's an overarching organization behind the Claymores. That's kind of a secretive organization that tells the Claymores where to go and which Yomas to kill and stuff like that. And there's this ambiguity to them where you're not sure if they're villains or not. You're just like, I don't know if you guys are the good guys or not. Because I mean, you feel like they are, but at the same time, you kind of feel like maybe they're not. The way the Claymores get treated, I mean, they're treated almost as disposable weapons by the organization, and that's all they're ever referred to as. So it's just you kind of feel for the Claymores because they're being used as human weapons, and it talks about how males were once used as Claymores, but they didn't work out very well because of the differences between men and women. I know, right? There's differences between men. Who'd have thunk it? I mean, there's differences. One's got a penis, it's kind of that little kid in Kindergarten Cop. Boys have a penis, girls have a vagina. That that most people would think like, hey, yep, that's at least one difference. Yep. Anyway, so and that's why they end up being mostly women that become Claymores, because when they tried to do it with men, there were issues. And so it just it is a very intricate story. There is a lot of world building behind the scenes that you're getting little bits and pieces of, and it all starts to fit together and to fall into place. And it's kind of funny because it's like this organization created the Claymores to fight the Yogi, and in doing so, almost created something worse. and it's just like, so wait, now you actually, it's like Frankenstein's monster. He's creating something and it gets away from him, and it turns into something terrible. So it is really interesting that way. There's a lot of nuances in this stuff that it just surprised me over and over again. Every episode, I was just like, ooh, the fight sequences, the skills and stuff that the Claymores show off is really fascinating to watch. And the artwork and it's just really well done. The fighting sequences are really well done, but not overdone. Sometimes I feel like some animes can get a little too carried away on like the fight sequences. It's just like, okay, this is all just one big fight sequence at this point. And sometimes I feel like My Hero Academia goes down that road. And don't get me wrong, I love My Hero Academia, but sometimes I feel like, okay, like, all right, focus, guys, focus. We're doing an anime here, not just fight explosion scenes. But this one really has a great story connected with it. And trust me, if you have not watched this, I'm trying not to give too much away for those who may have not seen this yet. But you will enjoy this. If you like good, strong female character driven anime or entertainment at all, then yeah, you're really gonna like this. So is it like a hero society? Well, welcome, Female Titan. Thank you for popping in. Not really. That's what I mean. It's like a covert, like a black ops group, basically, that runs the Claymores. And you really don't find out they like CIA level kind of like they dress in black. They show up after the Claymores have done their job. They pay the organization, not the Claymores, and then the Claymores are provided for by this organization. So not really heroes, and like the Claymores kind of have a separation between themselves and the human beings. They, I'm trying to think of the best way to describe this. They protect the humans, although they don't particularly always have a good opinion of humans. I don't know if you guys have ever read the series called The Mortal Instruments by Cassandra Clare. It's kind of like that. The Shadow Hunters' view of the humans that they protect. They kind of envy them and yet don't like them at the same time. Anyway, great series of books. I really enjoyed until she started trying to stick every kind of sexuality known to man into it. In one of her later series. But I mean, so it is not really a hero society. It's just a covert black ops organization that basically fights for humanity while remaining aloof from it. So and like I said, and they're kind of experimenting on these women and men to create the hybrid claymores that do all the dirty work, that go and kill the yogis. Which kind of sounds funny when you say it like that. Sorry, I'm just trying to look something up here real quick. Go ahead, talk amongst yourselves. It's all right. Don't worry about me. So, sorry, I keep saying yogis. It's Yoma. Yogi is, they refer to that a lot. The like they tap into their yogi powers or yogam powers or something like that, and that seems to be kind of where the Yoma get their strength from, and which is also what the Claymores tap into to get their strength. Hey, Project Story Time, thanks for popping in. Good to see you. But it is really but a lot of this is kind of like the original Star Wars in the fact that it's not really all explained. The Force in the original trilogy was that mystical, the mystical force that surrounds the universe and binds all living things. You remember when Obi-Wan? That's kind of how they describe the Yoma and the Yogi powers. Is just like, it's kind of a mystical thing that they don't really explain. That there's no freaking midichlorians to explain the Yogi powers. when they introduced the midichlorians, I was so pissed off at George Lucas. But I digress. Squirrel. But anyway, so I just if you've not had a chance to watch this, I cannot recommend this one highly enough. You will enjoy it. You will sit there and go, why can't we get female heroes like this all the time? Because it just, like, some of the Claymores start to figure out that they're being used by the organization and that they're being sent into dangerous missions to get rid of the ones that might be questioning the organization. So they're kind of trying to unravel the threads of what the organization behind them's true purpose is, what it all is about. And that's why I was like, I can't believe they canceled this, because it's one of my frustrations with anime. I usually get just really deep into an anime right about the time they cancel it. I'm like, oh, you suck. So that is a real struggle for me with anime. I'm just like, yeah, they'll just cut it off. Like, there is no, like, they don't do anything to end out the series. They don't, I mean, just nothing. Just, and you're just like, well, I guess I better go figure out how to read the manga, because that's the only way I'm going to figure out what happened in the story afterwards. They did that with Rosario and a Vampire, which was one of the first animes I ever really fell in love with. I was so mad at them. They canceled it after season 2, and I'm just like, wait, what? Heliday Outlaw, thank you for popping in. Great show tonight with you and Loki, by the way. But yeah, it's just you will have a lot of fun watching this. There's a lot of drama, a lot of action. It is very much an adult anime. I end up watching a lot of slice of life and high school animes and stuff. This one is not like that. This one is much more focused towards an adult audience. It deals with some very darker aspects of the human psyche and stuff, and I really enjoyed it for that, because I love the lighter hearted animes, but every once in a while you just really want to get into something with a lot of meat to it, and this has plenty of that. You will enjoy the story for this. Adult you say, not adult like that, no. Although there are some, how do I describe it? Not like sexual stuff, but it's like, well, I'll just describe one of the scenes to you. There's a point at which Teresa, one of the Claymores, uh, is walking through a forest and stumbles across a big group of bandits. Now, the Claymores, their highest law is they are not allowed to kill humans. If they kill a human being, they instantly forfeit their lives. They will be hunted down by the other Claymores and killed for it. So they're not allowed to kill other human beings. And so she comes across this group of bandits. They figure out that, they're like, hey, you can't kill us and stuff like that. And they're going to proceed to try and rape her. Well, she's just like, okay, well, and it's really cool the way she handles it, because she's just like, well, if you'd have let me know, because before she realizes what's happening, because they kind of sneak up on her, she cuts one of their arms off, and then she's like, oh wait, you're human, and so she's like, well, sorry about that, he's like, well, if I'd have known you just wanted to rape me, I could have skipped that whole cutting your arms off thing. It's like a deadpan humor that's gory. I mean, you'll understand when you watch the episode. But she starts to unbutton her clothes, and you don't see anything. But because of what they've done to her to create her as a Claymore, like all the guys are like, oh, that's gross. Like she's kind of facing them. You don't see anything, but apparently from her neck down, things are not okay. And all the bandits are like, oh, never mind, we don't want, and stuff. But from her clothes, you'd think she's super sexy, super hot, and I'm just like, there's a part of me that's just like, yeah, you get them, girl, and stuff. And it's just her attitude about it. She totally flips it around on the bandits and just grosses them out to the point where they're like, yeah, we're good, thanks. But it is really fantastic. I love, you can cut an arm off and not die. Yeah, I know, right? You just tourniquet and stuff, and it'll be okay. You'll just get nicknames like Stumpy. So this it has a lot more adult level content in it, and I don't mean sexually. I mean, if your kids watch this, it would probably scare them and confuse the crap out of them. That kind of adult. And I know Adega tends to like slightly darker animes, like Ergo Proxy and stuff like that. So I think you would like this one, Adega, if you haven't already seen it. And other things. Yes, and other things. That's mean. Are you talking about like a Lorena Bobbitt kind of incident, Lady Miss? That's just mean. But no, you will enjoy this from the beginning to the end. Like I say, when I first tried to watch this, I didn't get into it. I had to come back to it at a different point and then start again, and then I really got into it. So don't just give up on this right away, because depending on how you're feeling, you may have to come back and watch it later. But it goes from strength to strength. You see the development of these characters. The storyline just pulls you deeper and deeper in, and it is just, I liked it. I really, really did. By the way, Adega, I finished watching. I can never say the actual name of the anime. It's like Anafuri. I think is Anafuri, whatever. From weakest to world's strongest is the tagline for it. Great anime. Really pretty good. And yes, the bunny with the big hammer is hilarious. I think all the girl characters in that anime are really funny. The the pervy character, I'm just like, oh my gosh. I'm like, do they make women like that? I'm like, anyway, you'll have to watch that one too. But if you haven't seen that one, Adega suggested it to me, and I went and watched it. It had been on my list for a while, but I hadn't got to it. He suggested it. I went and watched it. Yeah, really funny, really good overall. So yeah, but so I can't recommend this one highly enough, just for the writing. Just for, I mean, the action is good, the art is good, everything really is just good with this anime. And I don't sit there feeling like, okay, they made this character a woman just because they didn't want her to have a penis. There's absolutely none of that, and I really enjoyed. Yes, there you go. Anafarita. It's just one of those ones I can't pronounce. I hooked on phonics did not work for me. But yeah, no. So go take a look at this. Let me know what you think. I just it caught me. Like I said, this is a recent one that I've started, and it moved to the front of the line on the animes I wanted to talk about. That's how much I like this one. So I can't even suggest it to my kids because I'm like, it's a little graphic. I don't think you guys are old enough. I know you're 18, but I don't think you're old enough yet. It is quite gory and stuff like that. The drives for the characters will just be like, I mean, you will really step back and go, wow, I could see myself in that situation. There's characters that are out for vengeance and revenge, and then there's ones that are just doing it just to do it, and so it really was a lot of fun to watch. So that's where I'm going to leave it this week. I'm not going to go a full hour on this one because I don't want to give too much away, because it really is worth watching and you don't want it spoiled, especially where it ends off. Then you're going to have to go watch the manga to get the rest of it. But yeah, so next week we will either be on Wednesday or Thursday. I'm still trying to fine tune this to get the best night to start doing these as a weekly show again. So until I kind of figure out what the best night is for doing this while I'm on the road, we're going to be in flux a little bit. Just know that they're coming and that they will be here. If you have any suggestions for future animes you'd like to see reviewed, or if you'd like to come on and help me review an anime, I would love to have somebody else on to help talk about these animes, to give multiple perspectives, because that's usually when something's, I mean, my opinion of it might be very different than somebody else's opinion, and it's always good to get a perspective, even if it's like one doesn't like it and one likes it. Then you can find out the goods and the bads. But next week we are going to be talking about Jujutsu Kaisen, which is really good, and I am really hoping that they come out with a new season soon. Okay. In the beginning, yeah, I will put that one on my list. And Lean Cage, like I said, I'm really gonna have to talk myself into watching the subtitle. But I think one of your comments earlier said that they were working on a Englishized version for Netflix, which yes, that would be good. So yeah, I struggle with subtitles. I don't know why. A lot of times it's because I'm listening to anime while I'm driving down the road, because I've run out of music and everything else to listen to. So I'll just turn on an anime, throw the thing over in my seat, and just listen to it as I'm going down the road. So I can't always watch or look, because I'll crash and kill people, and that's not good. So anyway, Thanks for being here, everybody. Thanks for that. Like I said, I know these are kind of impromptu, and I do appreciate your participation for everybody who popped in tonight. It was a lot of fun. Thanks for talking with me, especially you, Lady Mist. You were here from the beginning and stuck with me all the way through. You're a trooper. You were a trooper. Anyway, thanks for being here, and we will talk to you guys next week. Bye now.